Hey, how's life in the new normal? Do you still miss those interactions with friends, family, relatives, perhaps your office mates? All those face-to-face interactions and also traveling and seeing the world for yourself. Those were the days, right? So does that mean you're currently bored? Don't know what to do? Can't be productive while at home? Well then, let me ease your boredom because definitely there's so much that you can do while you're at home. Yes, you heard that right. You can certainly still do more without moving and perhaps spending as much. Have you tried acing the virtual space? What do I mean? Well, have you ever thought of, while everything's done online, perhaps trying to host that town hall for your company? Or maybe just within your team or with your friends, facilitating that online meeting. What about trying out your God-given talents and skills by creating that virtual workshop or seminar? Oh, you're a Toastmaster? Well then, have you tried club hopping and presenting your speeches and completing your projects without even moving from where you are? See, there's a lot of things that you can do in the virtual space. There's a lot that you can explore, maximize, and of course, conquer. And I'll help you out with that. Who am I? My name is AJ Cruz. I'm a BA Communications graduate. I'm currently a training and development specialist. I am able to facilitate training programs on retirement as a product trainer. Also, focus on communication, developmental, and technical skills. I'm also a certified I Am Remarkable facilitator, a soon-to-be SOGSC certified facilitator, and certainly not the least, I am an active Toastmaster. With all the skills and knowledge I've gained over the years, I am here to share with you how best to ace that virtual space. We're going to start off with our preparation because everything has to be ready before we can present ourselves to the whole wide world. There are 4 pillars that will help us prepare in order to become that wonderful host, that wonderful facilitator, or that dream Toastmaster you ever want to be. The 4 pillars I'm talking about include visuals. Everything can be seen by the naked eye, and it's the first ever sense that we will be using when we try out something new. That's the same for your audience. Content is another thing that we will be looking at because we're not just out there to show the world our faces. There's definitely more to the message that we want to spread. Then there's organization because we want to ensure that everyone can follow what we're talking about exactly. And lastly, we will also focus on delivery. One thing that can capture and sustain attention, especially in the virtual space where there's a lot of background distraction, is how we're able to send that message out by using different things such as our voice, gestures, and movement. Well, are you ready to get started? We'll start off with visuals. A lot of people have been vlogging nowadays using TikTok, YouTube, and all other social media accounts to present themselves to the world. And frankly, people have gotten the notion that, you should look perfect so that you can do these things. But in reality, it doesn't matter what exactly we look like, as long as we can be presentable and as long as we're able to show the right things. What do we mean by show the right things? There are instances that we don't know how much our camera, whether that's cell phone or any other gadget out there, we're using to present ourselves. Remember that since visuals are important to supplement, not to distract our audience, we have to show them just about enough. Now, what do I mean by that? We'll talk about shots. No, I'm not talking about drinking. Shots when it comes to what needs to be captured within a frame. And that means we want to understand, or let the audience understand, what our message is through the supplement of visuals. We don't usually focus so much close up on our face and show them our pores unless this is a beauty program. So, what's the shot size that we should be using whenever we're presenting ourselves, especially for online meetings, workshops, seminars, or hosting events? Mostly, mid-shot is enough. Mid-shot can be of 3 subcategories. You can cut it by the chest, the waist, or somewhere around the hips. Or perhaps a little lower when you're in a standing position. So that's in the middle of your thighs. Those shots will allow you to just present enough of your body, especially what you would need to use to supplement a speech, such as your movement of the arms, just the right capturing of the face, and when standing up, just the proper posture. Definitely not going to distract and not showing more than necessary. Now let's talk about angles this time. If we know how much we should capture of ourselves virtually, it's also necessary to show them the right angles of what we need to present to them. We definitely don't want them to feel inferior. Therefore, camera should be at eye level. That will make connection better, and it would feel like an immediate or an closer connection with your audience, because it feels like you're really just talking to someone on the other side of the lens. Now, there will be instances, and perhaps only when needed in stories, when presenting characters, would you need to change the angle of your camera. What do I mean? You've probably seen on TV, or maybe in your own meetings and in your own experiences, people showing the ceiling. What is there in the ceiling? Or perhaps underneath your nostrils? We don't want to show them every little bit of our brain cells up there, right? So make sure to only use and capture the right angle so that they can see exactly the you. Now, don't turn the angle also too far up unless you want to show them that you're a little person and that you have big dreams that could support and show them that angle. We don't want them to feel inferior when you're facilitating the meeting. You're supposed to be credible. So again, make sure that everything's eye level even when you're standing up. You could always use tripods, stands, or ask someone's help to make sure that they capture you at your eye level. What else should we know in terms of visuals? Well, there are backgrounds that we need to take care of. In the virtual setup, we may not have the studio that we need. We may not be able to travel to go to great places that can give us the nicest background that we have. But take note, they're just background. You're still the start of the show. So move around your house, move around your surroundings, and try to look for maybe a space that can look good without overpowering you. Or the simplest way that you can go is try to look for a wall, a plain one at most. Or maybe go for the great curtains. If that doesn't help you out, or there's no such place near you, then you can always go the traditional way. Set your props. Look for maybe cloth or maybe any of your mattress so that you can cover up whatever's on your background. Why choose that option instead of changing your background into something that's virtual? Have you seen people who move a lot on virtual meetings suddenly losing their arms, suddenly losing their head, blending with their background? Oh, we don't want that to happen. We don't want to distract them from your message because you're missing body parts. Well, if you really have to insist because there's a theme and we need to use those background in our way of presenting ourselves, then at the very least, try to make your movements minimal. Or perhaps ensure you're wearing something or using lighting that will not allow you to blend in with what's supposedly beside you or behind you. Well, that's it for visuals. I won't focus on much on the technical aspects because remember, we want to do this in the simplest way that we can. Remember, visuals are good, and it's only the first thing that they will be watching out for. What would make them stay is, in fact, the content. Yes, what are we supposed to talk about? If you're focusing on maybe a workshop or seminar, or perhaps doing a speech, then my personal tip, try to pick something that you're most comfortable with. Or, better yet, something you're really passionate about. Why? When it's something that you know by heart, then it would be easy enough to form the words, the sentences, the thought, the message. And when something is heartfelt, even a virtual audience can feel it. And hopefully, it's words or wisdom or morale that they can carry with them even after the recording or the video or the event is already done. Now, if you want to challenge yourself even further, then we can choose a topic we can certainly research from. Of course, there's the internet. There's a lot of information that can be readily available to you now. Or perhaps you've got some books at home that you can flip and search and look for a topic that you'd think your audience would likely want to know about. Now, with research, you will be able to explore maybe a topic that's interesting, relevant, and of course, something that you can have authority to speak about. Want something even more challenging than that? Well, have you ever tried to look into taboo topics? Something that's controversial, but definitely something a lot of people wouldn't say they want to know about or hear, but at the back of their heads, ooh, this is juicy. Yes, we're not against choosing controversial or taboo topics because in fact, it would really be something that's interesting, maybe something that's not fully explored yet, but people would take interest and really look into it, maybe listen to you, learn more from you. So those are the ways in which you can choose a topic. It doesn't have to be difficult because you'll always start with you. Now, content will not really matter much if it's difficult to understand. Remember, your audience is not visible to you, so we won't know if they're frowning, thinking, absorbing, or if this is something that they would be progressing with, or perhaps just flipping to the next application and look for something new. So it's necessary for us to also organize. Yes, there's a way for us to organize what we're supposed to talk about virtually. We don't just turn on the camera, say we want to say, and poof, done. That's how, well, if you want to make this a source of income, that's not how things would work. It's important that in organizing what we want to talk about, especially for meetings, seminars, workshops, and speeches, there has to be an order to things. And how best to do that? Well, I wouldn't enforce this upon you because there will be ways in which that would work for you that may not be the same for others. But what we can try is write down first everything that you would want to cover and for which length of time. Don't talk about everything under the sun, or talk about everything that you could and congest it in a topic. Remember, people's attention could be really short, and there will be a lot of distractions we may not be familiar with at their own homes, or in their background, or wherever they're currently situated in. So it's best to keep a message short and direct. So try to write down and choose maybe one main topic, and then support it with 3 other subtopics, and then provide with it examples, perhaps more details, and then make sure that you have a bombastic opening and summary on the conclusion so they won't forget. Now, if you'd like to write everything up and then have it memorized, that's also a good thing or a great way to do things. But if you're like me, memorization is not something that comes to me quite easily these days. Probably the age. Well, there's another way that we can do this, and especially good for spontaneous speakers. What am I talking about? Create a general outline of what you'd like to talk about, which things would need to be mentioned at certain points of your message or your speech, and of course, still the same thing. Grab a main topic, provide supplements, and then perhaps afterwards, you can also summarize and conclude powerfully. Now, everything in between for a spontaneous speaker can change, but what's most important is you're able to put a check on the topics that they want to cover. That's how you keep things organized. And on the technical side, you can also explore English, grammar. What am I talking about? One way that can help your audience follow through from beginning to the end without getting lost is to use transition words, to use clues, and of course, in a virtual setup, you can also provide effects. Effects that can lead you to the last part of our pillar, which is on delivery. Because of the technology that we have these days, we can add in effects, text, or things that we can add into our video so that they can easily remember and recall all the things that we have said in the past few minutes. Now, aside from that, that means we could look into some applications or technology software that can help us make these great effects. But these effects are only supplementary, remember? So it shouldn't distract. And they should be located in a place within your frame that doesn't cover your face. So don't also spread them out everywhere on your video because your audience will get lost in where should I watch out for that key message, that meaning. So try to use usually the lower part of your screen for subtitles, or if you don't want to use that space, then either choose your left or right side. Keep things simple and organize it also visually. Now, in terms of delivery, aside from what they could possibly see, also focus on how you could say things. Now, I'm not talking about how to improve your voice and take that ginger tea or salabat, whatever you might call it. I'm talking about how you can be a passionate speaker with just the use of your voice. Imagine speaking with gusto, with expression, with a little bit of exaggeration. And try to use vocal variety or storytelling techniques. I'm sure if you do so, even if the visuals don't turn out all that right, then you can still entertain and captivate your audience. So remember, you can always prepare. Start with your visuals, then work on your content. Choose how to organize, and finally, develop the skill so that you can deliver well. With that, you don't have to wait for tomorrow for a chance to explore your full potential. Go and make that opportunity today. Facilitate that online meeting seminar, or workshop. Host that town hall. Or perhaps, as a Toastmaster, deliver that speech and complete your project. You can always conquer the virtual space. Ace it, enjoy it, and you won't be able to realize that it's already back to normal. Enjoy yourself.